Hello everyone. A little bit of a weird format today, but I like playing around with it. I just wanted to do a video on to explain why I'm making coronavirus related content here. Now that actually hasn't helped my numbers on the channel at all. I've actually lost some subscriptions due to that. But it's simply that I want to spread the word because there's some people who aren't really taking it seriously. I'm not saying that anyone should be panicking at all, but everyone should be kind of taking it seriously. And I think at least working on starting to change your daily habits as far as like washing your hands more, for example. Just because personally I think that this is going to kind of spread everywhere. It doesn't seem like it can be contained. I mean, what evidence do we have so far that it can be contained? We have evidence that after doing kind of a draconian lockdown like they did in China, that helps to contain the spread. But nobody is really doing the lockdown until after the outbreak is already there. So, they're doing it reactively, and so it's like we have nothing that we're doing proactively that's really containing things. We see it spreading to countries all over the world, and big outbreaks in South Korea, Iran, Italy, etc. And I just don't see, like, take the United States for example. They're not doing anything special to slow down the spread. So we're just kind of waiting for it to happen, as the CDC has said that it's going to happen, basically. And then after that, we're going to react, and they might area by area, they may start to do things like shutting down schools, etc. And so what the authorities have said, and what I think from listening to various experts, is that everyone should kind of prepare. I just realized I'm not on the mic that I thought I was on. So sorry, the audio will not be good here. But everyone should be prepared for some life changes, I think. So I just want to address a couple of the reasons why I think a lot of people aren't taking this seriously. First thing is the idea that it's not much worse than the regular flu, that we've had a bunch of these scares before, like SARS, and SARS was worse. Well, the coronavirus that we have now is a much bigger global threat. Because the mortality rate is lower, actually makes it a bigger global threat because it will spread more. So viruses that are more severe, like SARS, they have a higher mortality rate, and that immobilizes people. That then kind of prevents them from spreading it to large numbers of people. So the fact that this is less severe, there's kind of like a Goldilocks area where if you have, if it's less severe, it allows people to mobilize and go and spread it to tons of people. And in particular, this virus can be spread without having symptoms, which was not true of SARS. So there are people who do not know that they're sick, they have no symptoms, and they're spreading it. And we've confirmed that many times. I've known that for at least a month. But then you see sometimes on the news, people will come out as if this is new information. I saw that in Japan, but I think it's just getting reconfirmed. Originally it was the Chinese authorities who were saying that, but now the Japanese have reconfirmed it, and I think, maybe other places like the Italians, the Americans, etc., that this is spread by people who are asymptomatic. So all that said, it's definitely not the end of the world. I think, we might just have a couple of years where the number of people who die each year is twice what it normally is. It's not the end of the world. But because it's a virus that you don't want to get, about it's not just that there's a death rate maybe of about 2%, but 20% of cases or so are severe, so you don't want to get that either. You don't want to be on assisted breathing, possibly have serious damage, possibly permanent damage to organs. You don't want to have that kind of stuff. So they're saying roughly 15 to 20% of cases are severe. So this is a virus that you don't want to get. And so I don't see what's going to stop it from spreading, and eventually it will get to the point where they will start taking it seriously in all the regions where they're not taking it that seriously yet, like Japan, United States, Europe outside of Italy. And so there will be changes such as more remote working, shutting down a lot of schools, and this kind of stuff, I think, for maybe a year or two until we get a vaccine. But that's just what I think is likely. And there was one other reason people aren't taking it seriously. I think a lot of Americans just think, oh, this is this happened in China. It doesn't happen in our great, highly developed countries. Sorry, my hair is very weird today. But that just doesn't make sense. I mean, it infects anyone. Doesn't care if you're Chinese or what. So that's why we see the numbers exploding in South Korea, Iran, and Italy. And South Korea has pretty good, and Italy as well. They have pretty good healthcare systems, I guess. That's what experts have said. People I trust. In fact, for South Korea and Italy, it might just be the fact that they have good healthcare is why they're detecting it. I mean, they've done way, way more testing. South Korea has done 2,000 times as much testing per capita as America has done. Again, the most recent numbers I've seen are that America has tested less than 500 people. That might have changed just in the last day or two or something, but I keep seeing I haven't seen more than 500 people being tested. And there are plans, they say, over the next week or two to expand that to like 75,000 people, to greatly expand it. Japan, similarly, has been really awful. I just made a calculation yesterday. Personally, I calculated that of a little more than 1,000 people that they've tested, they've had about 14% positive, whereas most countries like Italy or South Korea, they have like 4% positive in their testing. So the fact that in Japan it's like 14% means that they're not testing nearly as many people as they should be testing. So anyway, the idea that this is just a China thing and we Americans or we Europeans are beyond that because we have better healthcare, it doesn't matter. I mean, there's nothing they can do directly to treat the virus. There's only indirect treatment, which is supportive care. So treating the complications that you might get and keeping you hydrated and that stuff. There's nothing that they can directly do yet to help to treat the virus. So it's kind of irrelevant. In fact, I mean, America has shown that it's doing an extremely poor job dealing with this, with the ridiculously small number of people who have been tested so far. It's a scandal, really, and they've shown that they're really doing a bad job. Also, in terms of screening, I mean, they were quick to do a travel ban on China. But as far as currently screening people coming in from Italy, etc., sometimes there's no screening going on. I think it depends on the airport, but they're doing a terrible job with that as well. So anyway, there's been some kind of problem with creating the test kits, I think, in America. They made some kind of terrible mistake with that, so they really screwed it up. But Yeah, personally, I'm not confident in their. I think that they're kind of incompetent from top to bottom. To be perfectly honest with you, that's my opinion. Anyway, I just wanted to explain a little bit why I'm making these videos, and I'm going to continue to make them. So, yeah, see you around. Bye.